and welcome back to the AI Marketer's Playbook, where we cover actionable frameworks to help you leverage AI and marketing strategies in your business. I'm Audrey Chia, your host, and today I have with me Karl Ye, the Chief AI Officer and co-founder of 0260.ai. Now, Karl is an AI strategist, operator, and builder who is passionate about helping businesses realize the tangible benefits of AI. Now, with a remarkable track record of driving AI adoption across enterprises and startups, Karl has become a key leader in transforming business operations through strategic AI implementation. Welcome to the show, Karl.
Thank you so much, Audrey, for your invitation. Yeah, I can't wait to have the discussion.
We are excited to dive right in. Now, Karl, tell us a bit more about your background, how you got started, and how you launched into this whole world of AI.
Okay, so my background is actually all varied because I've been, weaving in and out. I've run my own company before, started in 2012, sold in 2016, a SaaS company, and then worked in marketing, worked in economic development. And really, how I got started specifically in AI was I was sitting in an office in 2018 and watching the Google I/O with Sundar Pichai. I don't know if you remember, he was demonstrating how to book or reserve, I guess, making a reservation at a restaurant using AI. And that was an awesome demo. And I thought, wow, this is the space. I think something's going to take off. So then I started deep diving. Obviously, nothing really happened from a consumer or business perspective or rapid adoption until ChatGPT launched in 2022. There's been a lot of progress, a lot of tools and features to try, and you can see the progress, but no one expected it to just explode when it was. And then 2022 happened, and usually when I want to deep dive into a subject, I start creating content about it. So I started creating a little bit of content about it, and then some businesses started asking, "Hey, would you like to speak about AI?" We're starting to hear a lot of things about it, so started speaking. Then started taking. I took one of the very first how to build your own chatbot courses. This was I think early 2023. So for most of the audiences, they know, the AI chatbots talk to PDFs, talk to documents and stuff. I learned how to build that through Python. And then some companies said, hey, and then I started creating content about that. And some companies said, hey, we'd like to, see if we can try to implement that. This just happened. It's kind of crazy. My business partner, who I've been working with on and off, he was owning his own agency, a video agency. And I told him our idea, and he's like, hey, let's get on with it. Because he was about to kind of semi-retire. So he wanted to look at something else to do. And he said, yeah, let's go do it. And he actually incorporated our business so fast. And he wanted me to go within I think a month or two. And I'm like, whoa, we don't know where this is going. So, but we finally, we started building more businesses until finally I needed to get going. So went on this full time last June and haven't looked back.
And it's really incredible to see that you actually, experimented in so many different fields with so much different knowledge and expertise. And then now we are in this world of AI where it's all about learning, implementing, experimenting. So what have you noticed in the past 2 years of, working with clients or even your own experimentation process? What are some key changes that you have seen in businesses that are trying to adopt AI?
It's very interesting. I want to make a point where we follow a lot of AI news, whether you're, ground zero on X, YouTube, podcast, newsletters, wherever you get your AI news from. But then if you step outside, particularly in the target audiences we have or the target businesses we have, they are definitely not. There's an echo chamber in the AI, I guess, bubble that, we talk and engage with people in the industry with. And just regular people, for example, we were talking to one prospect. We did a discovery presentation, and I asked, "Hey, so everyone in this room, what is your use of AI?" And everyone's like, "Of course, oh, we use ChatGPT a little bit." And then I said, "Oh, are you using the free version or the paid version?" And somebody said, "I didn't even know there's a paid version." So I think to us, there's a gap between the people who are using AI regularly and frequently and consume the news versus those who they just want to run their business, go on their day to day. They hear some of the news here and there, and they try the free version of ChatGPT. I think of all my clients, no one knows. There was only less than, I would say, 5% know about Gemini, less than 5% know about Claude. A lot of people know about Copilot, but it's because it's kind of there as a Microsoft play. So I don't even count that, right? And no one knows about anything related to open source or anything. So that's kind of there's that dichotomy. So that's part one. And I think part two is, even though we see a lot of studies by, I don't know, Gartner or Accenture or McKinsey about all these companies that are adopting or increasing their adoption of AI, when we're on the ground, people's adoption of AI is very, very, very low or very just exploratory. So, yes, there are pockets in their businesses that use ChatGPT for their own personal work or teamwork, but very, very rare that the entire organization is behind it and actually encouraging it or putting the resources to educate, have a full strategy behind it, enabling people to really go forward. There's
Yeah.
very, very few companies that actually are doing that.
Definitely. I too have noticed that even in like specifically the marketing and copywriting space, right? So a lot of the clients that I work with have teams that use AI, but then again, they're only scratching the surface, right? They're not leveraging the full extent of it. And the kind of time savings as well as productivity you can get by fully maximizing it is insane compared to, the level at which a lot of teams are using it. But what do you think are some of the key challenges that are stopping people, or most importantly, organizations and businesses from really adopting AI in their workflows?
A couple things. One thing is really the speed of progress. I kind of equate it to, if you remember the first iPhone, I think 2007, Steve Jobs came on stage, demonstrated the first iPhone, and we're on iPhone 16 now. Imagine iPhone 16 and all its features, well, let's say even i16 Pro Max, was launched the year after the first iPhone. That's No one would know how to use it. No one would have understood all the features because we've nearly had 2 decades of adapting to touchscreen swipe. Everybody, I think, back then was still on BlackBerry with the physical keyboards. So understanding, like, the camera, everything related to that phone took a long time for behavior to change. So we're seeing it in the AI space where you have, it's like, I'll take I think, in December there was the 12 days of shipments, right? So OpenAI dropped a feature, product, whatever, for 12 straight days.
Yeah.
There is no way any businesses outside that AI space was even paying attention to that. Maybe bits and pieces at the most. So, and then now we're seeing even more drops, right? DeepSeek and potentially Grok 3, O3, whatever, all these things are dropping left and right. For a regular person not involved, they don't have time for this.
Yeah.
There is no behavior adaptation. Most people just equate AI with ChatGPT. That's it, right? So that's, I think, the big challenge is it's moving so fast, people don't have time to adapt. And because the news there's always coming, you're kind of tuning it out already because there's just everything, something every day. And we're talking music, we're talking video, we're talking image, right? All these different elements are being put in. I think that's part one. I think the second big challenge too is there is genuine fear, and we've talked to businesses too and employees, that it will replace them, or there's going to be a change. Now, here's the thing. I would say 70 to 80% of the CEOs and presidents that we've done discovery presentations to have asked us, whether it's joking or half joking, hey, could I reduce my headcount? And that's unprompted. We don't say anything. They just say that. So there is and will be an impact, economic impact. We just businesses haven't caught up to the full capabilities. I think a lot of people think, oh, it's just ChatGPT. Well, a lot of medium-sized businesses, enterprises, probably a little bit more, maybe a lot more knowledgeable. I guess even some don't. But once they start catching up, but it will still take a little bit of time. I think that's where the disruption happens. So I think, to me, those are the two things. One is the rapid pace, and two is just kind of either fear or, hey, I don't even know outside of ChatGPT that I can do all this. Okay, I'll just kind of do the work that I do.
Yeah, but it's also interesting to see, like, because for any business owner, cost cutting is always something that is top of mind, right? And it's a matter of time, where they figure out what is the best way to do so, because that is going to be a pivot that a lot of businesses will have to make as everyone starts integrating AI and starts to really streamline their operations. And they need to also be competitive in this space. But for the companies that you have been working with, your clients who are more open to change, can you walk us through, for example, a process of, getting them from stage one where they don't know where to start and how to use AI at all to actually creating a solution that works for your business? How does that look like for a company?
Well, I think first of all, it's different for each company. So you can't just go company to company to company and implement the same solution because the workflows and the processes are so different. So for example, like even a company in the same industry or even employees in the same company in the same industry have different ways they're doing things, right? And yeah, can you implement this type of automation? You can kind of can, but then you'd have to tailor it to that person or how that team works. And each business has their own way of doing things and they may reach the same goal, they may reach the same outcome, but the way they do it is so different, and that's where AI can help the most. So usually what we do first before we talk about any type of solution is we meet or we do discovery with different teams and departments in the company. And it's not to talk about AI, it's to talk about their processes. What are the processes that they do? What are the ones that we call the eye rolls? So the ones that if you walk into work, you're like, you roll your eyes and you're like, I have to do this weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, quarterly, whatever you do, and you just don't like doing it. It's boring, it's mundane, it's repetitive. There's a lot of data. A lot of times it's reporting
Yeah.
or data input or something like that. That's to me, from a business perspective, we call it the 10 to 40%. That is where AI is the most reliable and scalable for any business that you can improve efficiency and productivity by 10 to 40% to start with. So that's what we're looking for. What are those things that people are doing, the processes that are 10 to 40%? So it could be anything from expense reporting, super simple. You get the expenses, people have to manually put it into an Excel spreadsheet and then run the numbers, right? That would be a simple process, but it's a pain in the neck for a lot of administrators. Another thing would be, okay, HR, right? They get a lot of inquiries about policies, about benefits, and so on. So that's something that, very simple. A lot of their questions that they get are repetitive. So we look at those processes first. How could we help alleviate some of that process, 10 to 40% to start, so to free up the time of employees so they can do what they want to do and they don't have to eye roll as much. And that's really where we start. We're not there to, hey, we're going to replace this person, we're going to replace this job. No, it's like we're trying to empower you so you can be much more, whether it's efficient, creative, or just do things that you want to do rather than do things that AI can take care of pretty easily.
And I love what you said about focusing on the process before the AI solution, right? Because you're not jumping straight to, hey, this is a one size fit all, but it's more of really figuring out what's a tailored approach that a company can take that works not just for their company, but even the team members, right? Because I think that human interaction and how they process things also matter in this whole process. But I would love to know, like, if since you have already delivered so many AI solutions, right? Especially to non-technical businesses, what are some challenges and obstacles that you have faced? Because I do know that you said you work with businesses that are traditionally not as tech savvy,
Yep.
maybe like in the real estate or in the construction space. How do you firstly, help them to come to terms with the use of AI and secondly, integrate it into their business? I think these are things that are interesting for a business that has not really explored tech or has not really
Yes.
been exposed to AI, right?
I think that the big thing is there to me there's a couple processes to it. One is there has to be a big significant leadership involvement with, their leaders have to be really engaged with this. They can't just pass it to IT. Sometimes you can't just pass it to marketing to, you know, do this for the company. You will have champions, and I think that's kind of where you start. But then the challenge is, I think the issues that we're running into are there are some people in the organization that want to go AI, like, hey, we should really be doing this. Then there's other people who don't understand it. Again, back to my comment about rapid pace. So ideally, you'd want to have a base level education for all your employees, not just few, all of them. And it doesn't have to be hard. You have people in your organization that are already using AI, turn them into the champions and help make them educate, help them with the education. Sure, you can hire consultants like us or agencies, but it doesn't have to be that hard. Like you can create hackathons or science fairs to get people, hey, come up with awesome use cases for AI and we'll give you a prize. Something simple, come up in 2 weeks to help whatever business unit you're with, to get people excited about it. So there's that base level education and participation. Then the other part of it is when we're actually implementing. So let's take a very simple example. Let's take a digital assistant. So AI chatbot, let's say you implement that, or even an AI automation. I think the challenge there is it's not like any other technical solution where sometimes you can just set it and you can kind of forget it. You need to, one, test it. I'm sorry, I don't know if this is kid friendly, but you have to test the shit out of it because you cannot put that into the public without your people testing it.
Yeah.
Then even after you deploy it, there's a 2 week, 3 week period where you're still gathering data because no matter how well you've tested it, you have no clue how people will interact or how will interact with the environment. That's why we always want to start with a small pilot to see and then scale it up. But if you look at the tech itself, that's the easy part. The hard part is the change management related to that. And what I mean is, let's say we do an AI automation where super simple, it's a trigger, right? Person does something to trigger the automation and it does something else, right? Well, that one action is still, you have to change the behavior of the person triggering that action. There has to be some behavior change. You also have to train the people in the department or unit that the AI process or the automation or digital assistant is in. You have to let them know what it's doing because the agency or whoever's implementing it can't be the sole knowledge holder of this. Because if something goes wrong, and inevitably it will, there has to be people understanding, hey, why did it go wrong and how can we fix it? And because AI moves so fast, the solution that you implemented today may not be the same that is going to be outputting 2-3 months from now, right? Versus the marketing, HubSpot, Salesforce, right? Trello, Asana, whatever it is, you kind of know in 6 months from now, it's kind of probably working the same way. Maybe a couple upgrades, but it's going to do the exact same thing. With AI, I have no clue in 3 months this thing's going to work exactly the same way because model changes, this company could be bought by somebody else. Like it's moving so fast. So that's why it's like you have to be on top of it and you have to keep on track of it because a lot of times we're talking about generative AI. So it's generating whatever. It's not consistently generating, it's going to generate. So there's going to be variations. So it's a little bit different. We have to be on top of it, but also understand this space as a whole and where it's going.
Yeah, and I think what you said about it's not just about building a system, right? It's even about the behavioral change, how people interact with AI, and then figure out how does this plug into my team and how does everything make sense around it. Those are pretty important as well, like human in the loop, and also making sure that there are systems in place that work with the current team's function.
Yeah. So the example that I always give is, I know I'm not a very good Excel user, and there are probably, this is non-AI related too, there are features and functions in Excel that could probably make my workflow 10 times faster. But I've been doing this thing or this process for, let's say, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Yes, you tell me to do something that can make my job probably better. But when I'm under pressure, there's a lot of things on my plate. There's a high likelihood I will go back to the process or the habit that I do because I'm comfortable with it and I know it. So that's a big challenge too. How do we break some of those habits that people have because it's comfortable? Like, this thing's making it faster, but I have to remember how to use it. But you know what? Instead of using it, I'm just going to do it my way. Even though it may take me a little longer, I know the output. That's the challenge. And I think that's a big thing that people don't realize when AI comes into fold. Again, the tech is the easy one to implement. It's the people behind it that you have to make sure are ready to go. And that's why I think AI adoption for businesses is a lot slower. Because even if we got AGI today, whatever that looks like, businesses will still operate and it'll still be a long time for them to change that behavior.
It's like AI will change, but human nature sometimes remains, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, but I think one also interesting thing, you talk about AGI and like different advancements, but one thing that you did mention previously was you talked about perhaps using AI voice as
Mhm.
a new way to interact with customers.
Yes.
So what is it? How does it work? And could you show us perhaps a demo of
Yes.
it?
Okay. So I'm going to share my screen, and here it is. Okay. So what we have here is kind of a prototype. We built it kind of on our website, but I'll make it a little bit easier first. So what this is we believe that if you think about businesses today and how to interact with them, you go to the website and you click on the menu to find things. But with the advancements of things like advanced voice mode, even in Google, their real-time AP stream real time, if you've ever used that, you can have full conversations in real time with businesses, right? So I'll give you an example. The data that this is trained on is for a bank. It's called BMO Nesbitt Burns, and it's there to act as a wealth advisor. So let's give it a shot.
Hello, how can I assist you with your financial questions today?
Can you tell me BMO's products for high net worth clients who are about to retire?
BMO Nesbitt Burns offers several products tailored for high net worth clients approaching retirement. First, the BMO Nesbitt Burns
Okay, change that. How about for someone just getting started with investments? What kind of programs does BMO have?
for someone just getting started with investments. BMO offers several programs tailored to different needs. First, BMO Nesbitt Burns Meridian Program. This
Okay, so you kind of get where I'm
Yeah.
going with that. So if you think about it, if you were really any business, not only, you've seen chatbots, AI chatbots, a lot of it's
Yes.
data retrieval. Like, oh, tell me about this. It's going to retrieve its data from the knowledge source.
Yeah.
But I think the expansion of that is, hey, you could also have an advisor on your business that people can interact with. So whether that's banking, whether it's, with vision capability, you can take a picture and be like, hey, my product, this is what's wrong with it. And it can see and then respond with potential solutions. I think this is where I want to go back to this. Give me a second, get out of the dashboard for a second. If I were to go to a website, yes, I can still do click scroll, but I think it'd be probably easier to have a conversation with that business. And then with the ability of agents, take that conversation to say, hey, can I book a demo? Can I talk to a live person? Can I do this? Can I interact with this product? I think that's where we're going. I really believe that's where we're going. And that's the fundamental shift on websites and how to interact with businesses. I think AI will change that business interaction itself.
I love that. And I think what you said about, again, user behavior, right? It doesn't just apply in the workspace, it applies in how your clients and consumers are going to be interacting and engaging with your brand, right? So, like what you said, if people's search behaviors are already currently changing with ChatGPT, the way they're going to interact with brands are probably going to change as well.
Yeah. And it will change, right? There will be people who still want to navigate your website the same way. But if you offer that ability to have that conversation, because what we're finding is even if we implement a chatbot, an AI, simple AI chatbot in some websites, we're finding people, if done well, people would rather interact with that than going through every single web page. It's just so much easier, right? Just type out, hey, how much do you cost? Blah, blah, blah. It's a much faster experience. But take it even further. Now I can just have a full conversation in real time. Then I don't need to do any typing, swiping, looking through your website. It'll just tell me. And that just makes it a lot easier. So that's kind of knowing human nature, just understanding it's like, hey, we want the quickest way to get what we want. This is probably more faster. And a lot of people, when even with you give them a chatbot, they have to think about the questions that they're asking. But we're just saying, hey, why don't you just talk as if you were talking to someone from the company, but now you have that
Definitely.
ability to.
Wow, super cool. I have a follow-up question. Given this, a really interesting use case you've shown us, right? What are some potentially interesting use cases that people don't know that AI is capable of, but you're currently already experimenting with or even integrating for some of your clients?
I think that the number one thing is for us, it's the automation side. So they don't know that, and you've probably seen this around with Zapier, Make, a lot of the relevance, Respell, Lindy, N8N, whatever a automation tool that was in existence, and now you have AI capability to it. The ability to automate even the most simple of your tasks from, oh, we get a lot of emails. I have to draft a lot of email responses. Just that alone, like we were talking to an accounting firm, and one partner said, 4 days, 4 hours of my day is responding to email questions. And I was like, oh, do you know that this automation could cut into that maybe 2.5 hours? Like instead of you having to create the email, just reviews it and then you can add. Just that alone, like that's such a simple thing that you could do. I think that's where people kind of don't see AI. AI first seen as question answer content creation, and maybe some custom GPTs, but doing some of these simple automations, I think that's where it's like, oh, but you have to connect it to what they do, and obviously connect it back to, hey, how will that impact the business? That's a big one too. So unless it actually impacts the business goals, we're just playing with AI. And as much as I love playing with AI, you can't just keep playing with AI. It has to do something for the business.
Yeah, and like what you said, right? Maybe when you're working with a business, you're actually going through that discovery process with them to identify what are the levers that they can then pull that will really drive efficiency and success for the company, right? So it's not AI for AI's sake, because that would be fun, but also not as tangible. But when it comes to, of course, driving real business value, that's where, being strategic about that process matters. I know you also have some experience in marketing as well as go-to-market strategies, right? So how do you see AI perhaps reshaping GTM, for companies nowadays?
One thing that I don't know if you've tested OpenAI's new operator yet, but so I was testing it this weekend, and I actually created a video on it. Go to my LinkedIn profile if you don't. So I created a video on it. So the example that OpenAI and a lot of companies do is, hey, book my travel, book my restaurant, things like that. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. So what I did is instead is I opened multiple operators. I think that's a mistake, is instead of trying to do one task at a time, try to do 4 or 5. I actually ran into a limit. I think it's 8 or 9 operators that you can do at
Operators.
once. So I used 4 operators, one for Word, one for Excel, one for PowerPoint, one for Outlook. And I had it do separate tasks for each. So log into it, review this article, write this post. Log into Outlook, review this article, send an email. Go into a spreadsheet, create a pivot table, and do this. And then for PowerPoint, review article, create a PowerPoint presentation, and then email it. So I asked it to do all these tasks all at once, and it did it. it
Wow.
I had to do a little. I didn't have to take control. The only thing I had to do was log in. But after logging in once, it was able to log into all these systems, send email, create content, edit Excel, and then create a PowerPoint, and then send the PowerPoint as an email. So it did all 4 tasks all at the same time. So I was thinking, if I had to do this task, it now it would have taken me longer. But now that I have 4 different operators doing it all at once. Another thing I did was I asked it, log into Dropbox, find this content piece, create a shareable link, go into Outlook, send an email about the shareable link. And it did it. And
Wow.
all I had to do was confirm. Yes, I found it. Yes. Is this article? Yes. Send it. Yes. So I didn't have to actually manually do it. It did it for me. Could I have done it faster? Probably, but that's one task. If I had 5 of these tasks at once, think about how fast my production. So your question about go to market, we all know there's different things we have to do in go to market, right? Content, customer feedback, product reviews, whatever you have, pipeline review, pipeline analysis, paid media itself, ad analysis, content creation. Imagine having an operator go into each of these systems and do all these tasks all at once. To me, that is, think about what happens to go to market, but also think of the disruption and think of the new skill set. So the skill set is you still have expertise in, let's say, paid media. So let's say you're doing paid media for go to market. Well, the new skill set is creating, managing, and operating an operator, an AI agent to deploy. So you're going to deploy, go to Google Ads, create me, I don't know, whatever, 7 different ad sets about this camp, whatever it is, create
Yes.
that for me. Then you have another one and analyze this set. Then another one that goes into, let's say, LinkedIn. Hey, I want you to create for me multiple LinkedIn ads about this. Use this video. Go into Dropbox, go into Google Drive, copy the link, use this video. Whatever the task is, you just have to list it down. So that's a brand new skill set that I see a lot of marketers and other people that need to have. So that's just an example of what the impact to go to market would be.
I think this is a super exciting thought, right? Because it's not even about using AI for one workflows, but using AI for multiple workflows, then building a full go-to-market team. Even if you don't have full expertise, it's almost like having fractional AI leads take charge and then you give that overall direction. So I do think that in the future that super lean, one person go-to-market team could in fact be possible, right?
It's not inconceivable. And we all know that the AI is going to be faster, better, smarter. So where do and we have this capability today. Where do we have, like, in 6 months, 3 months, 6 months, where will it go? Like, yeah, that's a full change to me in reshaping how we work completely.
And what do you think, like, as for example, marketers or even, specialists, right? What do you think people need to do in order to adapt to this change? Because like what you said, right, there will be jobs that will be replaced. Business owners are thinking about reducing headcount. AI is here. It will take some time, but it's here to stay. What can people do about it?
Well, I think it's one of the things you have to get involved now. Like, even learning the skill set of an agent, I think that's a huge, you have to understand not necessarily the operations of it because that'll change, but the concept of what is happening, get involved, like, understand some news, obviously listen, but also try out too some of these tools. Whether you just start with ChatGPT, I would, if you can, pay for a plus, because even people who've paid for plus subscriptions, I need to show them, hey, did you know that you have tasks, canvas, like all the things that OpenAI keeps releasing? No one, if you're outside the AI space, you're like, didn't know that I could do this. So O1, O3, whatever keeps coming out, no one will know. So I think that's a key thing, is keep understanding the concepts of what's happening, because yeah, it's so fast. Like, look at what we've seen from O1 to O3 in just a couple of months, and now you have all these other tools coming up with systems. It's kind of crazy.
It is insane. And like what I think, Carl, you said really well. It's really just to get started, like dip your toes in the water and really start getting yourself involved in the space. So at least you know what's going on and you won't get hit by, a truck when
Yeah.
everything changes one day. You're like, oh dear. But I think we live in exciting times. There's a lot of potential for us as marketers, as business leaders, to grow with the help of AI and really with that supercharged team. So with that, Carl, thank you for your time. Where can our audience find you and who should reach out to you?
Oh yeah, so you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm also on TikTok. Just search my name. I do a lot of content there. Also on YouTube. Our company is called 0to60.ai. If you want to work with us, our focus is really on non-tech, medium-sized businesses that want to get going in the AI space, but really want to see the return on investment. Really want to, hey, how will AI actually impact my business? How will it impact my revenue, my pipeline? That's the target, and that's who we're looking for.
Thank you, Carl, for all your insights, and thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure having you on the show. And thank you, folks, for tuning in. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the AI Marketers Playbook and hit the bell for more actionable AI and marketing insights. We'll see you next week.